Our first Google Docs assignment is about creating pages that have different margin settings and orientation settings. You also have the option to change the page color if you want to. I'll show you how to do that as well. So let's take a look at how you do this assignment. First of all, there are going to be 3 different documents that you create, and I always create Google Docs off of my Google Drive, but you could do it a different way. Any way you know how to create a new Google Doc is fine with me. So what I'm going to do, I'm here on my Google Drive, and I'm going to go to New and Google Docs and a blank document. Perfect. It's coming up. Now, up on the top right-hand side where it says Untitled Document, this is going to be about setting margins. So I'm going to say Margins 1. There's going to be 3 of these. So I'm going to call this Margins number 1. Yay. Okay, now on Google Classroom, I have posted for you a link to a text generator website. So it's this one over here that says Lorem Ipsum. So I'm going to click that, and it's going to take me to a website. Scroll this down just a bit, and then right here, there's a setting here that says paragraph, words, bytes, lists. All right, so I want words, and I'm going to set it to 500. That's what I recommend for this assignment. I want to generate 500 words of text. By the way, this text is not going to be English. That's all right. So I'm going to go ahead and click this button that says Generate Lorem Ipsum right here. Boom, click that. And it will make a couple, several paragraphs of some text, which actually is Latin. It's from ancient Rome. And so here we go. So I'm going to take all of this text, starting at this where it says Lorem Ipsum up here at the top, and I'll select all of that text, and got it. Now what I want to do is copy that text. I'm going to use the Control-C shortcut on my keyboard. You could also right-click and copy. I'll go over to that Margins 1 document that I created, and then I'm going to paste it. All right, cool. Now also here on Google Classroom, I put a document that has some information on it that you might need. So here I am on Google Classroom on the assignment for this day, and I'm looking at this Google Doc, and it looks like I've got it open in a window already here, so it looks like this. Let me roll this up. Okay, let's get to... We're doing page 1 right now. There's going to be 3 of them. I've already filled the page with random text. That's what I just showed you using that Lorem Ipsum website. So I'm going to roll on down here. And it tells you on the handout that here's what you got to do for margins and orientation. We're going to go to the File menu. We're going to click Page Setup. We're going to set each margin to 1/4 of an inch on this first one. Make sure that the orientation is set to Portrait. And you can change the page color if you want to. You don't have to if you don't want to. All right, well, let's get back to that document. Here we go. Get back to Margins 1. Here's how it works. File, Page Setup. All right, portrait orientation is good. That's what we want. Page color is up to you. If you want to change it, change it. If you don't, don't change it. It's your call. I'll just do it a gray color. All right, why not? Now on this first one, margins have to be set at 1/4 inch. The thing is about this, you're going to run into some language arts teacher at some point where they're going to ask you to write a paper, and they're going to tell you to have 1-inch margins or 1/2 inch margins or 1/4 inch margins. Well, so it's a good thing to know, how do you change the margins? All right, so here we go. Top, bottom, right, and left should all be 1/4 of an inch. So I'm going to put in 0.25. I'm hitting the Tab key on my keyboard to jump to the next one. 0.25, Tab, 0.25, Tab, 0.25. All right, let's think about the whole thing here. Portrait, page color. Page color is optional. And 0.25 for all the margins. Click OK. And if you look, you'll see very little space between the text and the edge of the page, and that's what margins are. A very narrow margin on this page, only 1/4 of an inch of empty space around the edges. Doesn't quite reach to the bottom, but that's okay. We're not going to worry about that. All right, so that's one down. Time to get to our next one here. So the way we need a new Google Doc. The way I'm going to do that is go to the File menu and click New and click Document. Bingo. This one is going to be up here in the top left. This one's going to be Margins 2. Got it. It's a good idea to name your documents. You should do that. Name your documents. Don't leave them untitled. Now let's go. Well, now pop quiz question for you. If I remember that website where I copied that text over here, if I already copied it, do I have to copy it again? Answer is no, I don't. I could just go ahead and paste it. Yay. So I've got my text on my page. Super. So I'm going to go back and look at that handout once again, and you can look at the handout right there on Google Classroom, and let's roll this down. We're going to look at page 2. All right. All the margins, 1 inch. Okay. All right. So top, bottom, left, right. All the margins, 1 inch. Orientation, landscape, page color, whatever you want. All right. Well, let's go back and do it. File, page setup. Landscape orientation this time. That turns the page sideways is what that does, in case you don't know. Page color, your call. I'm going to go another gray here. All of the margins 1 inch, so I'm going to go 1, tab, 1, tab, 1, tab, 1, tab. I'm hitting the tab key on my keyboard to jump from those different margin boxes right there. So I'll click OK on that. And you can see a nice even 1 inch margin all the way around this page. It also has been turned sideways. That's what landscape orientation is. Yay, 2 down, 1 to go. To make a new page, I'm going to come up here and click File, New, Document. This document up here on the top left is going to be called Margins 3. And I'm going to go ahead and paste. I'll just paste that text in there. Super. Now let's go look at that handout again, and let's roll this down. And what do we want on this one? All right, well, on this one, for the left and right margins, it's going to be 1.5 inches, 1.5 inch. For the top and bottom, we're going to go 0.75, that's 3/4 of an inch. Orientation is going to be portrait. Page color is going to be optional. You can leave it white if you want to, or you can change the color of the page to something else. Your call. Well, let's go to work. Let's get back to it here. All right, File, Page Setup. Portrait orientation is what that said. Left margin was supposed to be 1.5. Right margin 1.5. Jumping up here, 0.75 for the top and 0.75 for the bottom. Page color is up to you. Going to go ahead and click OK. Bingo, you got a really pretty wide margin on the side, but if you look at the top, you can tell that the top margin is definitely less than the left margin and the right margin, and that's what we're shooting for on this one. All right. If by chance, you'll notice if I roll this down, this document kind of expanded out to be 2 pages. That's not a problem. I don't really care that it's 2 pages. That's all right. Hey, look, that's margins number 3. So I have margins number 1 where we had really narrow margins. Margins number 2 where it's 1 inch all the way around plus it's landscape orientation. And margins number 3, wide margins on the left and right. And the margins are a little narrower on the top and bottom. Assignment's done. All you would have to do now is turn all of those in. Number 1, number 2, and number 3. They all have to be turned in. If you need help turning things in, we could get them turned in when you return to school. All right. Have at it.